Coming to Curiosity Stream, go on an adventure 66 million years in the making with Dino Week. From new discoveries about the dinosaurs we thought we knew, to the mind-blowing species still being unearthed, and the controversial discovery that could rewrite history. Did dinosaurs survive longer than imagined? Dino Week on Curiosity Stream. And with monthly, annual, and bundled pricing plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Hey guys, this is Matt with Bigfoot's Paranormal, and welcome back to another paranormal podcast. My wife Amanda is at work today, so I've got my other co-host. This is Miss Tinkerbell. If you're watching the video on YouTube, she's a little Min Chihuahua, and she likes to sit in my lap as I work on my computer. So that's pretty much what's happening here. She's just sitting here chilling, relaxing. Anyways, so welcome back to the Paranormal Podcast. We're going to be talking about basically a lot of things today. Hopefully I won't ramble too long. But everybody asked me, what goes into setting up an investigation? As I kind of talked about last week, we do what's called location scouting. Amanda and I've been doing quite a bit of it lately. We're in a new location. When we were in California, it was pretty simple. We had all these things at our fingertips. So we had the Queen Mary, we had the Whaley House, we had Los Angeles. We could go up to just almost any location up there that we knew, because we've been doing it for 20 plus years. Black Star Canyon, San Juan Capistrano, those places were always open to us. So basically, location scouting is basically going out to a location, trying to meet with either an owner, a docent, or somebody that runs the property, and essentially talking to them about the location, one, trying to get the history, and this is for ghost hunting, and essentially trying to find out if there's any kind of real paranormal experiences that have been happening there. Have they heard any stories? Have they experienced anything themselves? Has anybody else that works there or owns the property ever had an experience? Have any of the other guests that have come through, if there are other guests, have they ever had an experience? So that's our process. We go out there and we walk around, we document what's going on. We try and have personal experiences ourselves. A lot of the times we will not carry paranormal gear because it's kind of like a stealth investigation. We don't want, number one, we don't want to be disrespectful. We don't want to be disrespectful towards the people that own the property or the people that are basically running the tours or whatever. We always ask for permission to record video or audio or whatever. We don't really do EVP sessions or use K2s or anything like that when we're doing our scouting locations. We just kind of walk around and kind of get a feel for the energy of the location. Does it feel haunted? Amanda and I have been doing this so long now that we kind of can get a feel for a location if it's haunted or not. Now, that sometimes can be hit or miss. Sometimes, we walk into a location and go, this just doesn't feel like it has any activity. And then after we leave, or a couple weeks after we leave, the people call us back and you won't believe what just happened and blah, blah, blah. And we do want you to come out and investigate this location and stuff like that. So, locations that we actually scout, most of them are just historical buildings, but we do open land, we do ships, we do just about anything that is historical that might hold paranormal activity. And it doesn't have to just be ghosts. It can be well, I hate the word demonic, but we do research demonic activity when we're helping people only. We don't go searching that out on purpose. It seems to come to us. Um, so those cases come in, and of course we go and help those people. But a lot of the times, like we've done with Queen Mary, that's a historical location. We've done several hotels. We've done how do I say this? We've done famous people's houses. We've investigated famous people's houses. We've investigated some studios that were said to be haunted, theaters. I mean, you name it, we've probably been in it. We've been doing this so long. Amanda and I have probably been in and out of, at least me, a couple, 3 or 4 thousand locations. I mean, I've been doing this. We used to do investigations like once a week and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where the more you do it, the more you kind of get in tune with what's going on, and the more you kind of feel like, this has that feeling of being haunted, or this has a feeling of not being haunted, or it's peaceful here, or it just doesn't seem to be something right with this location, or whatever. You just start to pick up on the vibes from the location itself, and that's kind of part of our basis as well. So, like I said, the more we do this, the more we kind of get a feel for what's going on, and just by talking to people and stuff like that, you kind of get more of an idea of, hey, this is a good location. So, anyways, all right. So that's what goes into scouting. Usually, it takes a long time to set those locations up. A lot of the time, it's you go and contact somebody with a business card, and maybe a week or two later, or a month or two later, or even a year later, somebody will find your card and contact you and let you basically know that yes, we will be interested in an investigation, and then you start the back and forth with what can we do, what can't we do, what can we film, what can't we film, what can be on our show, what can't be on our show. So it's a real big process. Once that is set up, usually we go into details with how we set up investigations and how long they're going to be and all of that other details. And then basically, then we start our investigation. And then after that, usually it takes us a couple of weeks to break everything down, audio, video, picture wise, thermal camera wise, everything. We have to review all that stuff to see if there's anything even possibly paranormal in nature in that, in all that stuff, and all that video and audio and stuff. After that, we sit down with the client and we'll go through and explain everything to them. Did we get anything? Did we not get anything? Um, Usually we have about a 50-50 chance. Sometimes we'll get just enough for us to say, okay, you know what, we documented this or that and other thing. We would like the opportunity to come back and see if we can continue to document activity. So when that does actually happen, they do allow us to come back. What will end up happening is sometimes we'll get a lot more evidence or we won't get anything. And so at that point, if we're in our second investigation, we'll basically go into Man and I will sit down and talk and just think, okay, do we really want to continue with this? Is this something we're actually getting it, being able to document this activity, or is this something that we should just move on from? And then we'll discuss it with the owners or the property manager, whoever or wherever we're at. We'll discuss it with them as well. And if we're doing really well and we're starting to document activity, a lot of the time, and we're building um, a relationship with spirits there, a lot of the time we'll try and come back again. And for like the Smitty's Cafe, that was definitely a historic location. I mean, that was built pre-Civil War. The building was not the actual Smitty's Cafe, but we developed a really good relationship with them, and we were able to investigate that place like 7 or 8 times. And then we have several other clientele that when we were in California, we did the same thing. We investigated their location numerous times to continue to document activity, new activity, and continue to build on that. And so we had so much evidence. like Smitty's Cafe, and you'll see that show come out here probably sooner rather than later. I've got to sit down and go back through it. It's old video, like lower quality video that I like, so that is going to take me a little while to go through and figure out how I'm going to put that together. But I think in about a year and a half's worth of time, I think we got 3 full body apparitions on video, um, 2 or 3 shadows that we documented, multiple K2 hits, um, and then possibly some audio clips that we got too. There's just so much evidence from that location. That place was truly haunted. I have to say it's one of the most haunted places I've ever been. So, and then also like when we went to the hotel out here, the hotel that we did, that place is also very, very haunted. We had a great time out there, and we spent a couple times out there going through that place and just making sure that we were documenting everything. If you saw our last year, we did our Halloween special there. That was at where was that at? I totally forget the name of the place. Bear with me here for just a second. What was the name of that hotel? Oh, poor Shammy. She's probably listening and going, nah, I can't believe we named and forgot the name of my hotel. But yeah, just a cool location. I'll think of it here in a second. It just as soon as I went to say it, of course, it slipped out of my brain. But that's also on our YouTube channel. You can find that show on our channel. Lots of activity there, and just strange stuff happening. That was the first time ever that I heard the spirit box actually clearly say something, and it was like, holy crap! I can totally understand what that said, um, and stuff, which was amazing to me. Try to bring that show up here. Just give me a second here. Bear with me for just a second here. Woodbine Hotel. Yeah, the Woodbine Hotel is definitely actively haunted. That has got to be the most haunted hotel that I've ever been to. I mean, that place, we had so many hits on our spirit box that we could understand. I mean, those spirits, I mean, just the voices that came out of there were so clear. You could actually understand them. It wasn't just like, it was actually, one said Ezekiel, and they said our names at least twice during the night. Danny, and you're watching my show, well, Mr. Danny, he haunts the bar area at the Woodbine Hotel, and he seems like a little kid, and he seems to like to play over there. But yeah, he was really cool. Well, Danny was really awesome, and he seemed to be very active over in the bar area. Liked to let up our K2s, and occasionally he came through. He said his name at least twice when we were there. Um, Shammy, which is a hard name to say, her name came through the spirit box. We asked, what was here before the hotel, and it said hotel, which nobody knows that. I mean, that hotel built in 1902 burned to the ground, and they rebuilt it to what it is today, a couple years later. And so, yeah, I mean, just a cool location. But we scouted the hell out of that place before we went there. We went and checked out the town. We had driven by that area multiple times going out to do Bigfoot research out in East Texas. And so we knew we wanted to investigate that location. And Shammy and her husband were very, very nice. And, they basically were very open to allowing us to do whatever we wanted to do, and that was very awesome of them. So I got to give a shout out to her. If you get the opportunity to go stay at the Woodbine Hotel, I would definitely recommend it. The last time we were there, I woke up to the smell of what smelled like sugar cookies cooking, and the little camera, security camera that I had that has motion triggered, um, caught the lamp next to me when I was sleeping flickering off and on multiple times. That lamp was unplugged. I looked in the morning after I saw the footage and I'm like, what the hell? No, the lamp didn't work at all. It was unplugged because I tried to turn it on when I went to bed and it was unplugged. And so I don't know. I never plugged it in. I didn't want to mess with the little table that was there because it was a little rickety. And so yeah, I don't understand how that even happened. But something set off the light next to me. Um, that also happened down in the bar area too. We asked for them to light the little candle flame up that was off, and it lit up the candle. And you'll see that in the Woodbine show. But don't want to get into too many things that happened there. So another part of location scouting is researching online, doing research looking for the history. Because if you don't know names, dates, and stuff like that when you go in there, and I always say this, if you go in cold to a location, your chances of getting something are about 60% chance you won't and 40% you will. If you go in knowing information, you have names to ask. If you're doing an EVP session or you're doing a spirit box session, if you have names, if I know Joe Blow used to live there and he lived there and he died in 1958, or I'm making all this up, but I'm just saying that if you know this information and during an EVP session or whatever, you could ask, how did you die, or why did that lady shoot you, or when was this place built, or all these other things that pertain to the location, that might actually get you a better response than if you don't know anything. If I go in and I just say, what's your name? Are you male or female? How long have you been here? And you're rattling off question after question after question. Uh, only about 40% of the time do you actually get real responses or something that's real interesting. You really have to know the location well. Um, and it happens. I mean, we go into locations cold, or we go in with a lot of. You do all this research, like the Galveston, the Normandy Inn. When we went into the Normandy Inn, what we thought had happened in the house and what really was going on in the house were two different things. We were told all this stuff, everything online is negative. So if you watch the Normandy Inn show, you can see that there was really nothing negative. No one was hurt. No one was threatened. Whatever was there, after a while, decided to start communicating with us. And honestly, I think it might have been because there was a lack of power for 6 years. So that's another issue with location scouting. So without power, do the entities need to be pulling energy off of something? And so they turned to basically our gear, which they did. They killed a lot of our batteries right off the bat that night, that first night that we were there. So, you know, we used those little EM pumps and put them down and then basically left them all night in actually, unfortunately, in one spot where we shouldn't have left it. We should have spread them out, maybe one per level. And that's, again, part of location scouting. You've got to know your location. Because if you didn't, if we had known that this place was only maybe 3 or 4 entities, and it was basically just a family that seemed to be living there, we would have done this investigation a lot differently. But unfortunately, sometimes online, when you go online, there's a lot of misinformation and stuff like that. Yes, rituals had happened in the house, both satanic and um, there was some other voodoo rituals that were done in the house to protect the house. People in the area feel that house is like super negative or demonic in some way. The killing fields had been basically tied to that location. They thought that a lot of the girls had been taken to that house and murdered and then basically taken out and buried in the killing fields. And that's a very famous location down in Texas. If you don't know about the killing fields, um, basically look it up. I think there was 32 women that were murdered and buried there, and they think that multiple serial killers killed the girls and buried them there, and no one's ever been caught. They've never caught those serial killers, which is a little creepy, if you ask me. That means those people either already in jail or they're at large, or they've passed on themselves. But yeah, so again, none of that seemed to be true about this location. Um, and as we went, we started to realize, okay, things were more playful than anything else. And the caretaker of the place, I told us she had experienced the little kids, and that's pretty much what we experienced a lot of the time. And they seemed to be very intelligent. They seemed to be understanding what was going on, and they were able to interact with us as they were able to get the energy to do so. Um, on the second night we were there, the K2 started to light up more. We started getting more responses, and we basically realized that, again, props. We brought props, but the kids that were there weren't the same age as what we thought they were. We thought the kids had died at 4 and 5 or 6 years old, so we brought little toys that were pertained to that area, that age group. Unfortunately, these kids were older. They were 10 to 13 years old, and they weren't interested in those toys at all. They had no interest in them. So, again, a big mess up. But even though we did the research, we just didn't know. Um, Again, in location scouting, know your location. You have to really know what's going on in the house or in the location. It doesn't matter if it's a open field or if it's um, a house or a hotel or a ship or whatever. You have to know what's going on at the location. Otherwise, essentially, it just turns into you're guessing the whole time. Another thing you can do is if the location's been investigated before, um, try and either watch some of the videos that somebody made about it and go through it with a grain of salt and see what you think that's real and what's not. Really dissect what they did and how they did it, and even if it's just you're watching our videos, dissect everything. What do you think? We're 100% real. We're not going to fake anything. We're not going to make anything out to be anything that it's not. Everything you see on our shows is 100% real in our opinion. We don't, we don't screw around. We don't create false stuff like the Galveston, um, the Normandy Inn. That thing that happens while I'm standing in the hallway. That's 100% real. I had no idea that happened. So, anyways, getting back to on track here, as Amanda would say, we're going to stay on track. Um, just knowing the reports and stuff like that is one thing, but you have to really know who's really haunting or is actively active at the location. Had we known those little kids were there, we could have done a completely different investigation. And then to have the female voice come through and the male voice come through, it just seems like it was a family and they were just living there and they weren't understanding why people basically had basically invaded their home. The little kids were amused with us. They were having fun playing with us, and we were playing hide and go seek. And once we figured out it was little kids, basically their age group, because I think one said 10 or 11 or 12, I can't remember what it was, but through the spirit box, we completely changed the way we were investigating. And even Elena said, "Hey Matt, this place is not uh, negatively haunted." So, anywho, anything else about location scouting I want to talk about? Just be polite, with the people that you're working with. Be respectful, and if you're not going to basically bring evidence back to them, communicate with them. Let them know what's going on. I find that a lot of people, I keep hearing stories, and this is causing other people not to get into locations. I keep getting information about locations, and people don't want anybody to come in because they had a bad experience with a previous paranormal team or ghost hunting team. If you're going to go into a location, like I said, please be respectful to everyone, including the owners, and the spirits, and at the end, do some closure with the person that basically is running the place. So let them know, okay, well, we're not going to be coming back. We're not going to be sharing any information with you from here on out. Because a lot of the time, people say they basically wrap up an investigation and they never heard from the person again. They don't know if they got any evidence. They don't know anything. So tell them what you're going to do. We always basically turn around. We always tell people up front. It takes us a couple of weeks to break down the evidence, and then the show takes another week or so to put together. Um, it's a process. The first thing I do is I go through and I pull apart. I watch all the video, listen to all the audio, go through all the pictures, go through all the video, go through all the thermal images, go through the drone if we have one, if we flew one for that investigation. I go through all of that stuff, and it takes a while, especially when you have 50, 60, 80 hours worth of audio, video, and all this other stuff that you got to review, and I have a full-time job. So let them know what's going to happen. And then basically when you're done, give them a heads up. Hey, we're either not going to come back or we didn't get anything. We didn't get anything, so we're not going to come back and share anything with you. We always tell our clients, once we get our evidence broken down, we'll come back and we'll show you. Or we'll come back and talk to you about what happened during the investigation. One thing that makes us different from everybody else is basically we investigate with our clientele. So a lot of the time they do know what's happening, but sometimes we have multiple groups. If it's a big location, we might have 4 people, we might have 6 people, we might have 8 people, and we might have multiple locations that we're investigating, like the jail, the San Jacinto jail. There was the not only the jail, there was the old schoolhouse, which seemed to be the most active location. There was the post office, which also was very active, and then the train depot. And the train depot, all 4 of those locations were very active. And we had groups of 2 or 3 in each of those locations, and it was set up so we didn't really have to have, everybody kind of separated too much. They could do EVP sessions or spirit box sessions or whatever in each location at the same time, and we didn't have to really have anybody being quiet or normal. So, again, when we first went there, we walked through every building. Man and I walked through every building. We went through on a tour. We made sure we knew what was going on in every building, took notes, and then basically we used that to basically, do our investigation, and we had pretty good results. So, anyways, that's basically location scouting. Like I said, know your location, know the entities, know the people that work there. Do your research, interview people, talk to people. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't like to talk on video. The witnesses don't like to talk on video because they feel like they're going to get discriminated against, or people are going to laugh at them or whatever. But know your audience. Know your clientele. Find out what they've experienced and try and use that to your advantage. And if you can, get that person to come in with you who's had a lot of experiences, because it could help you also have a better investigation. That's the main reason we investigate with our clientele, is because we get more activity when they're with us. Because if you think about it, that's happening with them there. And if I walk into a location and whatever's there doesn't know me, it's probably going to go, oh, no. But if I walk in with that person, they're going to go, oh, hey, he's kind of hanging out with her. And if she's introducing me or he's introducing me, and we're kind of just interacting, and the spirit might be more likely to interact as well. So anyways, guys, just some tips and tricks to, location scouting and how to set up investigations and stuff like that. So everyone, please be safe. I'll be back on here probably later this week doing another podcast about something else. I'm not sure what the topic's going to be yet, but we really appreciate your support. If you're on our YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. We appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching or listening. We really appreciate all your support. And we'll talk to you next week.
Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.